Now, the rest of the story.
Alright, welcome back to the rest of the story. We decided to roll the dice this morning. By rolling the dice, I mean this is our first attempt at soybeans today. They were really not as wet as everybody thought they would be. I mean, everything we've tried up to this point was running 15-16%. First pass, this is at 10:30 a.m. We haven't really been getting much dew at night, and the ground was dry when we came out this morning. So, dropped the head down, went about 20 feet, and it's running right at 14%, down to 13.4. Not like super great, but definitely not nearly as bad as it could be, especially with the current weather forecast, which I'll admit isn't exactly as terrible as it could be. I mean, hey, there's a little sun there right now. But we want to try to get done with soybeans. The footage I got so far is kind of rushed because I was not here very long. I just caught what I could with the time that I was actually here. Ryan and I set the auger up. The plan is with these beans being have slightly more moisture than what we'd really like to see. We are actually dumping a fair portion of them into the bins, and we're going to run air on them. Not going to be putting any heat on them, but it's October 16th, and honestly, I'm watching the markets. I'm playing the basis game, and I have no problem holding them in the bins for another week and a half, 2 weeks, run some air on them, dry them down ourselves, and run them back out that first week in November and dump them. So that's what the current plan is. I went and raked hay. I have some hay raking, a hay raking video that'll be coming out tomorrow. I'm not really 100% sure where Dad and Ryan ended up. Dad said they had about 12 acres left at the end of the day at Rockville, which means, Dad still has like 35 acres to go yet. I still have about 14. I mean, we did not get carried away planting soybeans this year. Honestly, probably the one year where it may have actually bit us in the butt if we knew we were going to have the yields that we typically would. The one farm that we planted to soybeans that we were going to plant to soybeans this year typically runs 45 bushel to the acre. Not speaking against anybody else that is happy with these yields, but that farm runs about 45 bushels to the acre consistently year in, year out, no matter what fertilizer or chemicals or fungicide, whatever we end up doing to it. It just isn't one that really responds to it. 45 bushel to the acre for us is poverty prices. I mean, the county average is 55 acres around here, and honestly, if we're not seeing at least 60, we're disappointed. I mean, there's no way to put that in a kinder way. If it's not at least 60, we have expectations for our ground, for our fields, for our yields, for the products that we're using. 60 bushels to the acre is average for us. So the combine is running better than what it did the last year or two. The grain loss monitor now works. That's pretty important this year because it's really affecting the speed that we're running with the combine. It's handling the soybeans just fine, but for the corn, and I know somebody's going to say this, that we need a bigger combine. I already know, bud. I promise you that. I do know that our capacity needs to be upped a little bit, but the amount of corn that we're pulling into the head right now, off of everything that we've harvested up to this point, Dad's been having to crawl just to make sure that he's not spitting the stuff out the back because the whole separating unit in the back of the combine is just flooded with corn, and that's going 2.5 miles an hour. So with a 6-row, with a 9510, I mean, it's not the smallest combine you could have. I believe a 9410 was the smallest one in that series, but I gotta say the 9510 isn't too much bigger than the 94. So, yeah, excuse me. Morning coffee. Everybody that has made the mention that I'm in a better mood here lately. Well, obviously, I'm in a better mood. It's that pre-harvest jitters that pretty much was slowing down everybody because you don't know what the yields are going to do. You simply don't. Andrew was doing his best as far as estimating what yields we're going to do. I gave up on trying to figure out what yields are going to do as far as counting kernels and actually going out and trying to get an idea about, it's going to run 180 to 200. And I usually get within about 20 bushels of actual yield, but there's just so much variability across the fields. You don't know if all the ear sizes are the same or how much they vary, and that's what generally bites you in the butt. So I just gave up on it, and I let the yield monitor pretty much decide what the yields are, which is pretty much in the end, that's all that really matters, is what it's doing going through the combine. So the weather conditions, partly cloudy, partly sunny. I mean, it's a 50-50 mix. The sun was supposed to come out about 3 o'clock that afternoon. That's why I went and raked hay. I don't think the sun really did come out much better than what it did, but it's not the end of the world. We really are doing the whole who can do what tasks around here lately. Like, that's why I cut and run yesterday or today. The harvest, as far as getting the beans done, it does not require all three of us to be standing there. I mean, beans are kind of slow, so Dad and Ryan were handling this just fine. I went and raked hay. It took me like 6 hours to rake. I mean, you guys will see that in some of the raking videos, and I'm going to be baling it hopefully today. This video, just for reference, so I'm not confusing anybody, this was filmed October 16th. I'm doing the video at 6 a.m. The 17th of October. So I'm just trying to keep these videos up and running. Harvest for beans, I'm hoping is going to be done before long here. Am I going to harvest mine anytime soon? I don't know if I'm going to do mine today. Mine were all treated with the fungicide with that aerial application, and the fungicide stuff, as far as I'm aware of, is slightly wetter. It's still holding moisture compared to the non-treated stuff, but the yield is also 10 bushels better. So time will tell. If I think it's dry enough and I have time to go out and run it out, I'll do it. But I want to run it out myself just because it's going to be the only beans I have. And, I mean, who doesn't like harvesting their own crops? I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm boogieing back to the farm right now because I got to get going. I got my camera set up. I actually had a nice introductory video at the beginning of this. I just got my clip-on microphone again today, so I'll be back to doing that. It's just that when I used it, I didn't have the camera set up right. The camera was set up to pick up that much more. It was on the higher setting as far as the audio goes, and it was picking up every little bit of the breeze, the wind blowing that we had. And the wind was actually pretty bad, which, looking back, maybe that's why we were able to actually combine, is because not much of a dew the night before and the wind was blowing all day. So maybe that's helping with the moisture in the beans. I don't know. Beans are weird. With that, I gotta go. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.